Hello, all my YouTube fans. If I sound different, that's because I'm using a high quality recording app on iPhone. Every time I walk into the living room, I probably about puke in my head because of what I see. I see two old people sitting in front of a television, watching useless garbage that won't benefit them in any way. Those people are my grandparents. When I try to tell my grandparents, or mostly just my grandma, that television brainwashes you, let that sink in for a moment. When you watch television, what do you see? You're probably watching South Park or Family Guy or the news. What do you specifically see?
Clearly, you can see the man who goes by the name Chris, and that he's African American.
So there are questions about whether this has racial overtones. I mean, here you have a man of color in the presidency and white people showing up with guns strapped to their waist.
Okay, the results are in, and the answer is violence, fear, hate, pain. For instance, watch the news, and what will they tell you? Question mark, question mark, question mark. They will tell you things that make you fear certain areas, certain people. They divide us. They don't want the people working together to take down the people that are controlling them. They don't want us to become more powerful than them. Does that make sense? Of course it does. When the people stop fighting each other and stop gathering in riots and hate and pain, all because the news is telling them to, we would be so much stronger if everyone gathered together and took down the people that are controlling the ignorant. And when I say the ignorant, I mean the people that are starting riots and hitting people and violently assaulting people, and our fake news calling it a peaceful protest, when really it's a riot. When we watch television, we don't get positive feedback. We get consumerism, which is 15 commercials. They show us 15 commercials over and over and over again when we watch a single show. I counted. 15 commercials opposed to watching subliminals on YouTube to improve your life. They have subliminals for everything, and yet you're wasting time watching a box that doesn't teach you anything. The media industry, which is music, TV, movies, it's all controlled by one single family. Most of the ignorant people who are liberals, and I strictly mean that, liberals, don't see past the point of emotion. They think with their emotions are the first thing they hear. When they see on the TV that Trump is a bad man, they're going to believe it. Their minds are so easily consumed by emotion instead of logic and reason that they don't hear the things he says. They see his face, they see Trump's face, and they just automatically assume he's going to say something bad. The reason people don't like Trump is because, well, the media pretty much makes Trump look like shit. He makes himself look like shit most of the time, but he doesn't give a fuck what people think about him. Television tells us how to act, what's acceptable in society. Television controls us. And when you stop listening to everything they say on TV and you actually think and do some research on the internet, you'll find out that 90% of the time, the things they tell you, especially on the mainstream news, are bullshit. And a quick message to Leafy. I should have said this earlier, but I don't hate women. I hate being with a woman in a relationship, and I should have clarified that in my original video where I said we don't need women. And in that video, What I was mostly talking about was how we don't need women anymore to reproduce. We have technology now, especially from CRISPR, that company. We have technology now to where we don't need a woman's egg to reproduce. We only need a sperm.
In Anbar province. Was moving too slowly, but the fall of Ramadi has galvanized the Iraqi government. So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province. Was moving too slowly, but the fall of Ramadi has galvanized the Iraqi government. So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province.
Who have the responsibility to protect the American people. He told us the operatives have been instructed to ensure that the explosives went off at a point that was high enough to prevent people trapped above from escaping. That the explosives went off at a point that was high enough to prevent people trapped above from escaping.
Trump in doing what he said he would do. Shocker.
That All Lives Matter crowd real quiet today on the Muslim ban.
Here are the top 5 countries with the largest Muslim population. You'll notice that not a single Muslim from these countries is banned from entering the United States. Because it's not a Muslim ban. It's a ban based on a list of terror-linked countries that was created by the Obama administration. Oh, you didn't know that. You just swallowed the frothing hysteria generated by the mainstream media yet again. Where were the protests? Where was the outrage when Obama banned all Iraqi refugees from entering the US for 6 months back in 2011? Twice the amount of time they're banned for under this Trump executive order. 6 times Obama banned migrants from mostly Muslim countries, and you were completely silent. Obama spent 8 years dropping tens of thousands of bombs on Muslim countries, and you said absolutely nothing. He armed the jihadists who were responsible for creating the civil war in Syria that led to the refugee crisis, and most of you supported that. But Trump stops a handful of them from entering the US, and he's the dangerous racist Islamophobe. Despite the fact that refugee admissions under Trump over the course of 2017, around 50,000, will be in line with those admitted under previous administrations. You said nothing about Obama arming Saudi Arabia to slaughter Yemenis, yet now you're suddenly all concerned over Yemeni refugees. Give me a break.